Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining us, and peace be upon you all. This is Rayhan's podcast, and here we have a guest of mine called Khuram. Have I pronounced that right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Thanks, man. Now, Khuram, what I'll do, Khuram is an actor. Calling him an actor will be an understatement. He has acted before, and he has gone to acting school, right?
Yeah, like college, yeah.
College, right? Let's go. I'll add in a small teaser from my own film that he played in. Small teaser. Nobody else seen this, but a small teaser.
I should have went to his house. I should have seen his family. I should have seen his
There's
friends.
there's always another way out. I'm sure we can meet them, we can talk to them, we can sort this out. There is a way out. Why are you not looking at that way? Can you please look at me?
You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand.
So, Khuram, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me on, bro.
Sorry, you didn't leave me hanging there.
No, sorry. Mid-sip, man. Mid-sip.
Yeah. Khuram, man, it's nice to have you on the podcast. I mean to get you anyway, because I think you have a very interesting sort of experiences that you have. You are a young man. You look old.
I do look
But
older.
hold on. Not old. You look very mature and stand up and very wise. But you are a young man.
I look old, man. I look old. I'll take it, bro. I'm not. I've always tried to look older. So mission accomplished.
Excellent, man, excellent. Before I talk about the acting part of it, I've seen some of your Instagram posts, and you've been boxing as well.
Oh yeah. So
I've seen you in the pads. You know what I mean? Proper professional stuff, man. It's like there's no amateur stuff going on. Proper professional.
yeah. I mean, look.
You definitely looked the part. You definitely fooled me if you have to. You know.
Yeah, no, it's all a ruse. It's all I'm playing a part. I'm playing a part of a
But
box.
you are an actor.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all it's fake.
So what is it that you do?
So basically, I've trained martial arts for at least 5 to 6 years, mainly to just have some kind of thing that I always thought, like when I was a kid, oh, boxing and MMA was kind of brutal, and I'd always thought, oh, I was better for not getting involved in it, because I thought I'm a pacifist, and really, getting involved in it, you can still be a pacifist. I mean, Muhammad Ali is the biggest example of that, really. Yeah, so I mean, like, there's actor is, yes, I am an actor.
Okay.
But first and foremost, like, I love art in general. So, like, I do sketch sometimes. I'm actually writing a comic book series with my brother.
Wow.
Well, my brother, my friend, who's basically my brother. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's about people's like addictions and stuff like that, and how that's affected them in their life. And I'm inspired by a lot of like comic books and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Yeah, that, and then obviously the art of like acting, and then the art of like martial arts. So, yeah, I mean, actor, yeah.
Have you been to fights before? Have you fought in a ring
I've recently fought in a ring in November.
in November?
Yeah.
What happened? How did it turn out?
It's like a skills bout, so they don't declare a winner, but I got to do whatever I wanted to do in the
Okay.
ring. There was not
There's no winner or losers.
no, but I'm pretty.
They're trying to practice your skills on somebody.
Essentially, yeah.
On a real opponent.
Yeah. So
Okay. So so you treat it as a real fight.
yeah.
But you don't really get any medals or losers or winners or titles.
No, but I mean, I think I do have a recording of the fight. So I'll probably show you afterwards.
Yeah. Can I add it on
how-
podcast? Small
Yeah,
snippet of you.
small. Yeah,
you
sure.
know.
Yeah.
Do some All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no problems. And yeah. So that is it. I just wanted to really uh, show the skills that I've practiced over the years and put them on display in an actual boxing match with my coach, Jaden Irving, who is a guy who is my coach when it comes to martial arts,
Okay.
and someone who I work with um, at there's a gym that he owns called Octagon Fight Academy
Okay.
in Stretford, and we work there and train. Um, yeah, and he's a professional fighter as well.
Okay.
He just had a fight like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago.
I'll add his link onto the description box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
There is actually a link to the fight. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. It's I mean, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah. Cool. Well, excellent. You told me that you want to get into coaching as well,
Yes.
and you have some good takes, bold claims.
Yeah. I do have bold claims. Yeah. So a lot of striking sports, when it comes to combat sports, it's we're very far behind when it comes to development of fighters and their skills when it comes to like obviously new fighters and professional fighters. When it comes to like compared to basketball or uh, let's say American football or football that is known across the world, like World Cup, soccer,
Yeah.
I guess they call it. Or even golf, really. Like it's crazy how they have better development systems when it comes to their athletes
Right.
compared to us. Like I was,
So in the boxing industry, you think it's slightly flawed in terms of coaching.
yeah. Some coaches, yeah, some coaches. There's a couple like a handful of boxing coaches.
How can you say that? There's gyms everywhere. There's coaches everywhere trying to train up young kids to become boxers. There's so many gyms out there.
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of gyms out there, but a lot of those gyms, they're like money makers. So they're basically like they'll 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 train these fighters and they'll get them in a lot of sparring where they're introducing these kids even to a lot of brain damage at a very young age, and not really giving them not emphasizing defensive maneuvers and systems. They really just try to say like, oh, get in there and do the work, and really blanket statements.
What this may be quite challenging sort of thing I'm gonna say now.
Okay.
What qualifies you to think like that?
So basically, I've actually worked with a couple of fighters where uh, a lot of my system comes from a guy who's online who has taught a lot of striking sports athletes. Um, his name is Coach Barry Robinson. You can find him on Instagram,
I'll add him on the link.
on YouTube, and his system, the A Million Styles boxing system, is very, very, very good. It's very advanced, and there are close seconds like Malik King Scott, and a couple of the coaches, but this guy, he's really revolutionized his system. Traveled all across the world, worked with a lot of different athletes, and opened his mind. And some would say he's just a boxing coach, but really he's a mixed martial arts coach, combat sports coach.
Do you think the principles that are transferable
Transferable
from mixed martial arts to boxing?
Yeah, I mean the system is it's like a development system, so it's a lot of like drilling. There is part of sparring, and there are systems there, but when it comes to actual development, you want to talk about drilling and specific drills with intention and accountability from certain coaches. So when you're doing, you're not performing to your best when it comes to skills, and you need someone who can either watch what you're doing and knows the system to be like, yeah, you're not doing it right.
To recognize the subtlety and
Yeah.
the hidden nuances of certain fighters to find out what the weaknesses or the strengths are.
Yeah, exactly. And my game as well is to work with, do a lot of like film study. So film studying is like you watch film on certain opponents and kind of break down areas of.
Okay. When you said film study, I thought you were watching Rocky Balboa
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
yeah,
Creed sort of
yeah,
films.
yeah.
You mean real fights,
Yes.
and you watch them and you sort of study the moves and the flaws and the strengths,
Yes.
so that you can prepare your fighter for that certain opponent.
Yes, and give them and really if they were to do a camp, try to understand. Okay, yes, we'll do skills development and make sure that certain skills, like you can develop skills, right? But if you don't carry on doing these drills, you can lose those skills, right?
Okay.
It's like riding a bike, right? After, if you ride a bike, learn it from like 6 years old, then 20 years later, you've never rid a bike. You're gonna forget, and you have to relearn, and then, grease the wheels again. So, so you have to do that, and then obviously gear the camp towards this opponent.
Right. I'm gonna transition the topic
Okay.
because I think it works hand in hand.
Mm.
Where I believe there's a lot of discipline that's takes to be a boxer,
Yes.
and how does that help when I don't know, certain individuals have mental health issues or depression or impulse control?
Right. Yeah. When it comes to mental,
Do you have experience yourself personally?
with mental health issues,
Well, but just generally speaking, like depression, anxiety, panic attacks, or
I think yes, I have. Yeah. When it comes to, yeah, I mean, I used to work in a place where it wasn't great to work in. And you kind of have to, you get to a point where you just don't feel valued as a person. So, and you don't really have a choice of leaving the place because of certain things.
you gotta pay bills.
Yeah. Um, and you don't want to upset people,
Okay.
whether that be family or other things. And
Living to their expectations, say like your parents.
yeah,
Your parents expect you to work because are you the eldest in the family?
I am the third child out of
Third
four.
child.
Yeah.
Do your parents expect things from you? I'm
Y-
sure they do,
Yeah.
but is it over the top, do you think? Or is it just normal amount?
I think they expect, because they are in compromised positions where they are like, my dad is working again because he had a tuberculosis at the start of COVID, and we thought it was
Oh.
COVID, but it turns out it was just a heavy case of tuberculosis.
Okay.
And they had to drain out his lung, and they had operations where he's got scars on his back.
Wow.
And then my mum has just recently had a stroke as well. So she's on the mend.
How bad is she?
She had a mild stroke. Thankfully, it
Mild
was.
stroke.
Yes,
Thank Allah.
I
Alhamdulillah.
know. Thank you. Yeah.
How's she coping in terms of functionality?
I mean, thankfully, like, they had physiotherapy, and her mind is kind of coming back, and she's just at home a lot now.
Mm. Is she walking? Is she?
She is. She has a stick.
Okay.
And we assist her whenever she needs. Yeah.
What position does that put you in then?
I mean, obviously, it makes me want to work harder.
Mm.
So, what? Yeah, that makes me a lot. It makes me angry too.
Why?
I think because I feel like I'm not working hard enough.
Okay, you've
Um,
been too hard on yourself, isn't it? That's
no, but sometimes you have to be like sometimes.
you use that as fuel.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. Uh, Otherwise, what are you doing? Like, if you don't use it as fuel, I'm not gonna say that you don't care, but you definitely need to show something that you care.
Yeah,
So just trying to make everything easier for them
yeah.
is my goal. Um, and that's what I'm trying to do with coaching. That's what I'm trying to do with
Is it
my art.
your coaching? Is it a way of helping you deal with what you're going through as well?
Yeah, I
Does it
mean,
help,
does it help?
or is it like a separate thing?
I think it is a separate thing. Um, Obviously, yeah, I think it is a separate thing. That is just coaching is kind of a passion,
Okay, got
one of
you.
my many passions. Um, yeah, I think that's it's one of those things where I love just working with people and I guess teaching as well, teaching people one on one. Like if soon I'm going to start doing like one-to-one
Yeah,
sessions
yeah.
and really work with people who haven't started boxing ever before. I'm trying to like really, if they give me the chance, uh, I'd have them, if they were patient with me, because I'm a guy who has, I'm very like boot camp ish. Like I'm,
You have to be. You have to be.
yeah, but so a lot of these
If
coaches
you're a
are.
coach, yeah, you have to be, aren't you?
A lot of these coaches are very nice. You know what I mean? A lot of these coaches are like too
You
nice on
can't
the.
be a nice coach.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that give a lot of leeway. You know what I mean? So I'm the guy who's I put my boot in your ass. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, let's go, let's go, let's go, and we film sessions, and then we. It's not like I'm putting you through the hardest, and then you don't know what you're learning. I'm also giving you the info so that you understand why you're doing something,
Yeah,
when you do something, and how you do something.
got you, got you. Um, moving on to you could the reason why we met is that you auditioned for my film.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just give you some intro as to what I expected of him. When I saw your pic, yeah,
All right. Yeah.
I thought, listen, mate, you look like one of those guys who talk like, hey bro, something in bro, you alright, bro, say, it's all good, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one of them type. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
oh my god. But the thing is, I was running out of options.
Hmm.
I thought I'll send you the message, I'll tell you the address and time, and just come here.
Right.
And I wasn't even considering you to get in. I was just trying to give you a chance to audition, and then, you know what? Let's see what you got. You know what I mean? But I had my eye on other guys as well. I'm not gonna be thingy. Sorry, my wife's calling. Look at that. So
cut that out. Cut that out. Cut that out.
no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So when this big hunk of a guy came in, I sat down and all disheveled and everything, yeah.
Right.
And he came in, and I gave you the script.
Yeah.
Mate, you smashed it.
Oh,
Smashed it. You blew my mind.
thank you.
Mate, because this big guy you're trying to show, because the scene required a lot of emotion, a lot of intense of emotion, and you pulled it perfectly. You know what I mean? Mate, you were wicked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a. I think I have that a lot. As we spoke before, like where I audition, and I kind of like looking like homeless as I do now. Um, where I like kind of working from a disadvantageous position of, oh, this guy doesn't know anything. This guy, you know what I mean? Like I have a lot of, I see a lot of casting directors and they do that a lot. You know, thinking
Yeah.
that I haven't seen them do that. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I just work, and then hopefully I audition, and then obviously
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. And I do the work, and then I try to get out there as soon as possible, so that the last impression of me
Yeah. Yeah.
is the actual thing.
Mate, the whole shoot was quite demanding. I I was doing my most ambitious shots, yeah, and the whole film was very ambitious. But the whole crew believed the story and the film, and they put the 110% into it. You believed in it. You were giving 110% in every shot and every take, and it wasn't easy. Especially when let's not name names, but the girl from Birmingham
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
who came
yes.
on, and she auditioned quite well. It was an online audition because of COVID. I think we couldn't do a face to face one, but she came in and you do the mate. She did not do a good job in the rehearsals, and I was getting really frustrated. She what was it? She broke down as well
Yeah.
acting. Oh my god! Like, what do I do?
It was interesting because she did well on the Zoom audition.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, and I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna do okay. All right.
To me, she fit the role perfectly.
Yeah.
Based on the audition
Yeah.
that I gave online.
But
And when she came over, oh my god.
I guess that's the safety of the internet, right?
Yeah.
Because you're at home in a comfy place, and if you don't get the audition, you're at home. You can do whatever. But if you're out in public, especially when she's so far away from home, 2 hours away, yeah, and then that's also. I mean, I'm not sure if she was an actor or anything like that.
I found out later she hasn't done any major roles. And she came in as a first time actor. And I can't be handling that. I need someone who could do the job. You know what I mean? So that day, I sent her home nicely. With I paid for everything. I called in Maria.
Yes.
And she came in. Wow! Within 2 hours, she was here, and mate, half an hour learned the script and pulled the wicked audition. I think during rehearsal, so it was an audition and rehearsal at the same time. She pulled it off.
Yeah. That must have been very.
It was a bit hectic from my side because I was getting worried about who I'm gonna pick because we got shoots tomorrow. We got shoots tomorrow. I don't have a lead female actor. What the hell do I do?
Yeah.
Oh my god! But luckily, Maria came and she saved the film. Even though she only had about one major scene with you and a scene at the end. Yeah. But that role was very important because the interaction between you and Maria had to be sort of real.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. There's a scene I just showed you, and you're actually one of the rare people who has seen the film, right? Looking back, my worry was that the scenes were too subtle. The story was too subtle.
I don't think.
Did you see the story? I'm not really sure.
I saw the story. I saw multiple different things that you were talking about. Like there's the whole scene with the wife. There's a scene with the mother. There's a scene with the stranger. Then there's that little starting scene at the train tracks where he's having a scene with himself. And then
don't spoil it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
guys, I am plugging my own film, but that's by accident.
My apologies. Yeah, so there's that scene with and then
by the way, it's okay because that part's in the trailer anyway, so it's fine.
yeah. So there's a scene with himself, right? And then there's a scene with the brother on the street.
Yeah.
So there's that scene as well, where he's kind of with himself, but there's another person.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, that story is very like common.
Going back to why I made the film.
Yeah.
And that's why you were so keen to be involved in the film.
Yeah.
It's that mental illness sort of taboo thing in our community.
Because it isn't talked about enough. Clearly, I mean, the fact that it's you think it's subtle. I think it might be subtle to the people who aren't within the community. You know what I mean? I think it's super obvious, not obvious, but super relevant and like you can understandable from people who are me and you, and various other people who look like us, who have similar lives. Um, yeah, I mean, and it's. I mean, I don't know if you've had mental health issues or anything like that.
I've had some issues, but
Yeah.
nothing to brag about,
Yeah. No. Should be laughing. No. Yeah.
But
No.
people are going through worse.
Yeah.
Where people seemingly look fine, but they're going through a lot.
But that's the thing, right? Because you can say, oh, people are going through worse, but again, you can't undermine your own thing. You understand? Like,
Is it what men do?
Yes.
Their ability to put their feelings to a side.
Yeah.
To get the job done.
Yeah.
To have that soldier mind.
Yes.
Like my responsibilities, my duties, my honor, my dignity, my leadership.
Yeah.
I can't be falling into my depression or my anxiety, my panic attacks, or whatever it is. I have to get the job done because there's nobody else.
But then there's the point where you push it down so much and for so long that it just comes out, and you have no control over it. And I think that's very, yeah, it happens everywhere, but I think that's something that's very like integral to what Asian men understand, right? Because we're always taught to believe like, just Ram now, chill out. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this, especially when it's like conservative. Like, you don't talk about those kind of things. But they need to be talked about. But obviously, if you have people within your circle that can talk about certain feelings that you have, I think it's obviously friends are probably the first.
Do men need to talk about their feelings? What do men need?
From time to time.
Do they need to share? Or do they need to just be assured that I'm okay? Because it's different for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Now, some people are okay sharing their feelings.
Yeah.
If they can. If they have an avenue to get off the chest and just share it. Some men don't want to share, but they just want to be assured that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's somebody else who's going through it. This is why I've actually created this podcast. One of the main primary reasons is that men are not alone. Men, I believe, which is majority of the case anyway, men are very lonely creatures.
Yes.
They're very because the majority of the time they're leaders. No matter what number you are a sibling, eventually you'll become alone mentally, and you have your own path to lead.
Yeah.
And there comes a time where you can't rely on your mom and dad.
No.
And some men become too old where your parents have passed away. Right? Like my parents. My parents passed away. I don't know. My mom passed away in 2014. Now I was very attached. I was a leader. I was the leader of my family, of all my siblings. All my siblings were relying upon me to fix all the issues. Right? Any problem in the family, I'm the one who's solving. I'm the one who's coming with solutions and solving all the problems, the major ones, the minor ones, all the little ones. You know what I mean? Where big brother will fix it. Big brother will fix it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some mentality. So I've just recently it's taken years for me to slowly come out of that position because I no longer want to be in that position anymore because my siblings have grown up. They've got kids on themselves. Their kids are growing up. I don't need to be in that position anymore. And I don't want to be relied upon like that anymore.
Yeah.
I have my own kids. I have my own family to look after. You know what I mean? So some men can't let go of that sort of role. That's all they know. Not everybody has the opportunity to just come out of that position. They have to fulfill that because people rely on them. I don't know.
I think there's, to counter the point, I think there's a responsibility that people have as well to talk. Because, like, we talk about mental health, right? And so, I'm a guy who's into his physical health, right? Not right now, I've got a bit of belly. But physical health, we always talk about that. You'll see it everywhere where it's like Instagram or social media, and then you start to think about, why do I look like that, and then that kind of plays on your mind. Like the gym, when it comes to physical health, talking about certain situations in your own mind, and let's say family or friends or social circles or whatever, that is the equivalent, like a therapy session, let's say.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
Yeah. To me, I feel like that's the exact same thing. Like talking to someone for at least an hour a week.
Do you believe talking to a therapist who you pay
someone who's
hundreds of pounds to work? Someone who's not an Asian, someone who doesn't understand the Bengali, Pakistani, Indian culture, somebody who doesn't understand what it means to be a Muslim. Do you think they can help?
There's plenty of therapists. I think that you can find a Muslim therapist anywhere.
Probably going on, yeah. Not many that I've seen.
No, but again, they are out there. So it's just the bravery to kind of step outside yourself and contact them. And say,
some may say, and I've heard people say this, is that it's deemed as a very weak thing to do for men to share their feelings.
I disagree. I think I think that's the bravest thing you can do, because the weak thing is, like,
if you're
going
an Asian,
along with everybody.
If you're an Asian, you belong to a community, either you like it or not, yeah. And there's people talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a community has its pros and cons, and one of the main cons is that if you are showing your vulnerability and your weaknesses, people use that to their advantage.
How so?
They can use it to their advantage. Like, suppose you're a grown man and you have a daughter, or you have a son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, let's say so the father has a son who wants to get his son married off, right?
Okay.
He found a suitable bride for his son, but the family find out that because all it is sometimes what happens in our community, the daughter of the family moves into the male's house until they find their own place. That's how it works in it sometimes. But when they see the fathers, who your father going to be? Is he somebody who's mentally stable? Is he strict? Is he going to be kind to my daughter? Will he treat my daughter the same way as he treats his own son and daughters? It happens.
Damn.
And it's a consideration. I'm not saying it's a major factor. People do consider it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of things to consider, but I think that has kind of thrown me off there. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like
I'm quite old, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite old, so I've seen the Bengali politics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I've seen the Bengali, and it plays a part.
Right.
It plays a part.
Okay.
Maybe not when you're single and you're a man and you're an individual.
Right.
But when you have family, daughters and sons, and you need to involve the community, either you like it or not, these things matter.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter. I'm not saying it shouldn't matter.
Right.
But they matter.
Yeah.
Either we like it or not, it's just part of the community.
No,
we can't pick and choose what matters and what can't matter.
So then what do we do? Do we just carry on doing this thing where it's making everybody upset? Or do we kind of come together as a community and start to reevaluate what do we want
what are the solutions? Eh?
What are the solutions? Do we be honest about? And obviously, there's a whole other aspect of like, do women want to be with a guy who talks about certain stuff? You know,
That's
a lot of women,
also the
a lot
point,
of
yeah.
women in the Asian
Women
community
think
are
they
very
want, a
old-fashioned.
sensitive,
Yeah,
funny guy, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But when they see a man who's sharing his feelings, his vulnerability, some women don't want that.
But it's not like what they
They
want.
want a man who's strong,
Yes.
and stable in his own self, yeah. Because if he's not stable, then who the hell is gonna protect me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so there's a
I don't even babysitting him.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not.
It's tricky. It's not easy.
Again, that's the whole thing. Like, I say, go to a therapist because you're going to a professional. If you can't go to your wife sometimes because it's like, if she starts seeing you crying, there's a psychological thing that happens not just to you but to them.
Yeah.
So you need to go to a professional. Me
You
personally,
go
I
to
advocate
somebody
that.
else anyway. Someone else who's willing to listen,
Yeah.
and probably not part of the family as well. Somebody a stranger will do as well.
Definitely. I think it helps when you go in to talk to a stranger about, because it's like you have this feeling of, well, it's not going to come back to me. You know what I mean? Like within the community.
Like your safety net.
Yeah, it's like a safety net,
Yeah.
essentially. And then it kind of gives you the courage, okay, now I can, if once you get to a place where you understand yourself as a person, your mentality, why am I confused, insecure, scared about this certain situations, when it comes to family or friends.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of, okay, now I'm ready to tackle it head on, and then, maybe I can. But obviously that
Let
takes
me ask
time.
you. Let me ask a question, because this is what a question I ask quite a few of my guests.
Okay.
At your most lowest point.
Yeah.
Your lowest point.
Yeah.
Right. Who can you call? Is it someone you could just
Yes.
number call?
Yeah.
Who is that?
That's I have actually one or two. So I have so they're like my best friends. So I have Hadi Ali, who is my bro from high school, and we've been best friends. And he's the guy who I've been creating a comic book with.
Okay.
Which is about like addiction and stuff like that. And with yeah, so I've he's one of those.
So you
guys
got a
that I
friend,
can
yeah,
rely on.
Hadi.
Hadi Ali, yeah, Iraqi brother.
Mate, well done, mate. You got somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we all need at least one person, and then there's obviously my other brother Asim Hamid, who's he's from high school and primary school.
Yeah.
All these guys that I know, and I know these guys. They're my brothers. You know what I mean?
This is probably me speculating. Yeah. Is that I think you have somebody right now because you're young.
Okay.
But most men have asked past 35, nearly in the 40s, past 40s. That question I've asked, I'm not saying it's definitely proof or just saying, based on what I've asked and who I've asked, they have eventually those friends. As you grow older, the friends that you had, you thought you were close with, you sort of lose them because you getting older. You're listing yourself because you don't have the same time that you had before. So eventually, your priorities change. They see you differently. You see them differently.
You know what's so funny about that? Right. I thought, because I grew up a lonely kid. I didn't have too many friends.
I had a lot of friends.
It shows, man. You're a very likable guy. Right? You're very lovable dude. No, it's so I had a very select few of very close friends that I could trust. And so these friends, obviously I have trust issues still to this day. But obviously these guys, it's like they've gone through the tests. You know what I mean? And I think if I would have lost the friends along the way, I definitely would have lost them by now. Because I was working in a completely different city in Preston, in this job, a family business, for 5 years, and I can only meet them every month or so. and we would talk online and talk on friends and group chats and stuff like that. If I would have lost them by now,
Yeah.
I definitely would have lost them right then. But
Yeah.
they stuck by me. You know what I mean? And I've stuck by them in their hard times as well, when
Yeah.
they've really needed me.
Yeah.
So it's like friendships and relationships of all kind, they have to constantly be tested, because it's like, you know, sometimes you
You have to know.
you have to know.
You have to know.
You know what I
And
mean?
and it's not a purposeful test. It's like you sort of realize that in your worst times and your bad times, are your friends there
Yeah.
to support you?
Yeah.
When you're making bad decisions, are your friends there to stop you? You know what I mean? You know, I'm not saying all friends are good, because I've done some stuff with my friends. You know what I mean? But as we go older, if I'm making a bad decision and my friends come up to say, I don't think you should be doing that, 'cause I'm going to do it anyway. But you should be doing that. Well, this, why.
Yeah.
You listen, innit? Because
Yeah.
wise.
But that's because you trust their opinion as
You
well.
trust their opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know how they work.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and your point exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I could go on for a lot more longer with you. I know that, you know what I mean? And it's been a pleasure having you. And I hopefully, I'd love to talk about more about film stuff, you know what I mean? Acting and film and boxing thing as well. You know what? I'll call you next time
Whenever,
with more progress and anything else. And I hope for the best of you. I hope, may Allah grant your parents peace and tranquility in this world and hereafter. May Allah give you success in this world and hereafter as well. All the best of luck, mate.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Right, guys. This has been a short podcast. As you may know, the wife called. And I gotta go. Besides that, it's been a pleasure having Khuram. I'll add his details in the description below. And if you like this podcast, and please share it, like it, subscribe, and share me your thoughts. Share me your struggles, hardships, whatever you want to share, your ideas, your help, your donations, or your whatever it is, you know what I mean, support. Just whatever it is, however you want to do it. I'm all ideas. I'm welcoming everything for the time being. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.